Probability sampling is a method where every member of the population has a known and equal chance of being selected for a sample, ensuring a representative and unbiased sample for statistical inference. Probability sampling allows researchers to make inference about the entire population based on the sample data. Probability sampling allows for the use of statistical methods to analyze the data and draw conclusions about the population. We have four types of probability sampling: simple random sampling, stratified sampling, systematic sampling, and cluster sampling.
Good day everyone. I'm Kathy Mabunga and I'm here to present to you what is stratified sampling. Stratified sampling is a method where we divide the population into smaller groups called strata based on a common characteristic such as gender, grade level, or academic performance. From each group, we randomly select participants proportionally, ensuring that every category is fairly represented in the study. I can give you an example of stratified sampling. So, let's say we need a sample of 20 students from a school of 100 students. Instead of choosing randomly, we divide them into two groups, which is female and male, 60 for females and 40 for males. Since females make up 60% of the total, we select 60% of 20, which is 12 females. For males, they make up 40%, so we select 40% of 20, which is 8 males. In this way, our samples accurately represents the entire student population. That's all, and thank you.
Cluster sampling is a type of probability sampling method where the population is split into smaller groups, which are usually diverse and represent the entire population. Instead of randomly selecting individuals from the whole population, a random choice of cluster is made. Then, either all people within the chosen clusters or random sample from those clusters is picked for the study. Advantages of cluster sampling: more cost-effective and time-efficient, especially when the population is spread over a wide geographical area. Reduces logistical challenges of reaching all individuals. Disadvantages of cluster sampling: less precision compared to simple random sampling because the individuals within cluster might be more similar to each other, leading to less variability in the sample. It can introduce bias if the clusters are not well defined or do not accurately represent the whole population. Cluster sampling is commonly used in the large surveys like national health studies or educational research, where it might not be possible to sample every person from a large population.
In this video, we're going to learn about simple random sampling, a basic but an important concept in statistics. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand how it works and why it is used. Simple random sampling is a method used to select a group of items or people from a larger group where every item has an equal chance of being chosen. Imagine that you have a big jar filled with colorful marbles. If you mix the jar well and pick a few marbles without looking, each marble has the same chance of being selected. That's exactly how simple random sampling works. In research and data collection, simple random sampling helps ensure that the sample or the smaller group you study represents the whole group fairly. This method avoids any bias because every person or item in the larger group is equally likely to be picked. Example. Let's consider a classroom example. Suppose your class has 30 students and You want to pick 5 students for a special project. You could write each student's name on a slip of paper, mix all the slips in a hat, and then draw 5 names randomly. Since every student's name is in the hat, each one has the same chance of being selected or being chosen, making the selection process fair. In summary, simple random sampling is a fair and unbiased way to select a sample from a larger group. It works by giving every item or person an equal chance of being chosen, much like drawing names from a hat. This method is widely used to help ensure that the results accurately represents the whole group.
Hi, my name is Patricia Jane Hidalgo, and I will discuss the systematic sampling. A systematic sampling is a probability sampling method where researchers select members of a population at a regular interval, starting from a random point. However, systematic sampling is a method where you choose members from a large group in a regular pattern. But how it works systematic sampling? Number 1. Determine the population size, quantity, big letter M, and the desired sample, the quantity, small letter m. Number 2. Calculate the sample interval, quantity k, by dividing the population size by the desired sample size. Quantity k is equal to big letter N over small letter n. Number 3. Randomly select a starting point within the first interval. And last, select every kth element for the population, starting from the randomly chosen point. This is similar from the random sampling, but it is usually slightly easier to conduct. A systematic sampling is a hobby, advantages and disadvantages. Here are the advantages. Simplicity and efficiency. It's easier to implement than random sampling, especially when dealing with large populations. Cost effective. It can be more cost effective than other sampling methods. Reduces bias. If the population is randomly ordered, systematic sampling can help to avoid bias. And this is for the disadvantages. Potential for bias. If the population has a cyclical pattern that matches the sampling interval, the sample may not be representative. It's not suitable for populations that are not ordered or have a cyclical pattern.
Random sampling technique. It is also known as probability sampling. It aims to select a sample from a population which each member has a known chance of being chosen, ensuring a representative and unbiased sample. In addition, it is a subset of statistical population in which each member of the subset has an equal chance of being selected. Non-probability sampling. It is a method where participants are selected for a study based on non-random criteria, meaning not every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected or included. Unlike probability sampling, where every member has no chance of being selected, non-probability sampling relies on subjective criteria. This sampling technique is used in qualitative research.
And now, I will discuss snowball sampling, also known as chain referral sampling. It is a non-probability sampling method where existing study participants help recruit future participants from their network, creating a sample that grows like a snowball.
In this video, I'll explain what convenience sampling is. I'll show you some advantages and disadvantages and give you some tips on how to analyze a convenience sample. First of all, convenience sampling, also called accidental sampling or grab sampling, is where you include people who are easy to reach. For example, you could survey people from your workplace, at the school you belong to, or at the mall. This type of sampling is a type of non-probability sampling. That means it doesn't include a random selection of participants. It is the opposite of probability sampling. That is where people are randomly selected and each person has an equal chance of being chosen. Convenience sampling does have its uses, especially when you needed to conduct a study quickly. One of the advantages of convenience sample is that it is easy and inexpensive compared to other methods, and participants are readily available as the method cuts out a larger part of the population.
Voluntary sampling is also known as self-selection sampling. It is a non-probability sampling technique where participants choose to be a part of a study, often choose responding to an advertisement or request for volunteers. Definition: in voluntary sampling, researchers rely on individuals who self-select to participate in study, rather than being randomly or systematically chosen. How it works: researcher might post an advertisement or request for volunteers online, on notice boards or through other channels, and anyone interested.
Ng probability sampling, unlike probability sampling, like random sampling, quota sampling doesn't rely on random selection, meaning not all members of the population have an equal chance of being selected.